me to talk the dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You like that? You really like that? Let's shut up and grab some tape.
Creeping closer. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in on a fine Wednesday evening here on the Film Guy Network. Look, man, I think Kirby Smart, he's been in the national limelight for a while now. It's been 8 or 9 years that this guy's been kind of a thing. And I still think, despite the fact that he's been around for almost a decade as a head football coach, I still think at times he can be misunderstood, right? I think some people in the Georgia fan base watched yesterday's news and they might have thought that this guy could sometimes care less about what the media thinks about him or what other people think about his program. And then you have some people in the national scene, particularly outside the Georgia program, that see yesterday's news and Georgia ranked number 2 in the initial CFP rankings and say, immediately rush to Twitter and tweet out like evil person emojis and be like, ooh, Kirby Smart's got his energy. Hell, Greg McElroy couldn't wait. Immediately, as soon as he saw number 2, he mentioned Kirby Smart jumping up and down as if this was like, again, some type of monumental source of energy for this Georgia football program. And honestly, do you know what I want to think you know what I think it is? You know what I think most about Kirby Smart? Oh, it's bumping because that's not on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Damn.
I just turned it on, so it should be fixed.
Good call. I should have realized that.
It's all good.
The chat get us first?
Yeah, chat.
Someone just mentioned it.
Damn. Contemplating whether or not we start the rant over. I don't think it's that good. We're not going to start it over that well. Do you want to know what I think about Kirby Smart? I think he's a robot, okay? I think outside of his wife, his family, and his friends, he's ultimately consumed, okay, and consumed with winning, right? Consumed with the mission that is winning football games. Is that on mute now?
I'm just making sure it is.
Make sure it's red. If it's not red, it's not on mute. Now it's
It's on mute now.
All right. My bad. I should have put it on. Then I would have taken care of all of it. That's on me. He's, again, consumed with the mission of winning, right? Not necessarily worried about all these other things unless they are part of the mission, unless they can help in on the mission. And in 2023, as the head coach of any college football team, all right, with young and impressionable men on your roster, you use what you need to use, right? You harness the good energy, you block out the bad. Harness good, block bad. Right? That's what I thought about today when I thought about this idea of Kirby Smart using this messaging. I thought very much so about feeling the flow, right? About using the energy that you need to use and blocking out the energy from your program that you don't necessarily need to use, right? So I guarantee you, I can bet you right now, at some point when needed, Kirby Smart will let this football team know that at some point this season they were doubted. All right, but I don't think it's necessarily this week. I think it was last week, if anything. I think if any point in the season so far to date, Kirby Smart walked into his locker room and said, guys, they don't believe in y'all. They don't think y'all are going to go do it. It was last week when they were playing Florida and Brock Bowers wasn't in the equation. If you needed to use some, hey, they don't believe in you, it was last week for sure. And then they come out, they perform like they do. Now it's back to the business of we don't use the outside narrative. We don't care about the outside narrative. All we care about today is beating yesterday's version of ourselves. All that cliche stuff, it goes back into the fold today, okay, with the University of Georgia, in my opinion, based off what I've learned from this guy. Again, I don't think he registers this stuff unless it needs to be registered, right? He got the text message from Dan Mullen, and I think his brain picked that up in the middle of the press conference when he knew he had a chance to make a joke about Dan Mullen. That's how this guy works, all right? I think that's how Saban works. I think Saban only says what he wants to say. Saban only reacts to what he wants to react to. Saban only uses the ingredients that he needs to, okay, to go out and put forth. It's not every single time someone says something. It's when he needs it, right? He might absorb all of it. That's what computers do. Computers and robots, they intake all of the information, and then they selectively choose which portions of the information they actually want to use. I think that's exactly what Kirby Smart is. I think he is a robot. Robots don't feel emotion. Emotion would be, oh, they ranked us second. That would be emotion. A robot would look at this and say, guess what? If we play Ohio State later in the year, we might let these guys remember. right? We might let these guys remember that, they were doubted at some point, that at some point people thought this team was better than them. However, you got to go about talking to your team and getting them upright, right? But this is a generation of young men who are always on social media. They're always reading this stuff. So they're going to see people talking shit about them or hyping them up no matter what, right? It's the head coach's job to filter all that information and use what is necessary. Welcome into tonight's show. We have a loaded one for you. We got Tuesdays with Terrence on a Wednesday here on the network. How can Carson Beck cement himself in the Heisman race? We'll play a little game of minimum and maximum. We got bold predictions. We're going to give them 3. Today as well, we'll play a little trivia, okay? They give us these little neat little info packets, okay, every week, okay? I've never used one. I've never read it. Never even flipped through it. Sorry, Leland. Sorry, SID department. Sorry, intern, whoever has to go through and make these. My apologies. I never read them. I read them this week. I have some good old-fashioned Georgia Bulldogs trivia that I want to play with you guys and the chat today as well. And we're going to play a little game of Guess That Bulldog. You've been playing Guess That Team on MBR over there, Jay Will. I brought a little Guess That Bulldog in today. How we doing today, fellas?
Doing fantastic.
Doing good. This week's flying by, I feel like.
My robot take. What do we think?
Interesting.
I think it's pretty on par. I was trying to think of moments where Kirby really showed a lot of emotion like that, and the only time I can think about is when he was trying to make the case for Georgia to make the playoff. I can't remember which year it was. Was it
again when he needs to?
Yeah, when he needs to.
Yeah.
That's the only time where I can really think of wow, that's a different side of Kirby.
I think it's kind of hard to say he's a robot when you see him on the sidelines and when you see so many practice things. So, but definitely in pressers when he's dealing with media and stuff like that, where it's almost like you almost have to be political in a way. He's definitely a robot when it comes
outside the lines. I very rarely see him show emotion.
Yeah,
whether it be press conferences, whether it be in TV hits, whether it be in situations like this, very rarely see him show any type of emotion with regards to information like this. However, on a football field, you're right. He turns that shit up when he needs to. Definitely. Welcome into tonight's show. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, like, subscribing, rating, and reviewing. We've had a great week here on the Film Guy Network. Make sure we're continuing it tonight by showing some love, not only in the chat, in the comments, in the thumbs up button, but make sure you are subscribing to the network. I think 2 weeks ago, we gave a shout out for 15,000 subscribers. Couldn't have been very long ago. We will probably cross over 16,000 at some point, either tonight or tomorrow morning. So, hey, good on you guys. Make sure you're telling your friends about what we got going on over here, whether they be dog fans or whether they be any type of college football fan. We probably, definitely have something for them here on the network. But I also want to give a quick shout out to our friends at Prize Picks, okay? If you are someone who delves in daily prop, wagering, if you will, head over to Prize Picks today and use promo code Brooks. You will get 100% deposit match over there. What does that mean? You put up to $100, you will get instantly matched $100 right now today over on prizepicks.com if you use promo code Brooks. I also want to give a quick shout out to the Athletic Collection. Hey, they told us you guys were buying some of these dope posters we got hanging out over here in the lobby or in the studio. Don't miss out on an opportunity to run over to the Athletic Collection today and give it a little support via NIL fund. It's an NIL play for all of these players. There's a lot of options over there. I know we have a lot of parents that watch the show. We have a lot of family members that watch the show. So there is a likely opportunity that your beloved Bulldog has a poster somewhere. And they are good-looking posters, man. Roll right out of the packaging and go slap right on the wall. They look great. Also, an option to frame those for you before they ship. Ooh. So a great opportunity to have not only some NIL play, but have some dope shit hanging out in your house via the Athletic Collection. The link is in the bio and description of all of our videos. I think I took care of all the business.
You did.
That'll do that. All right, before Terrence gets here, all right, let's talk about our minimum and maximum segment. Now, this is how this works, ladies and gentlemen. We play minimums, we play maximums, all right? A prime example. The maximum amount of points, boys, that Missouri can score this weekend and still Georgia come out on top. What say you?
I'd say 35.
I was going to say 35 too.
All right, so here's this is why I put this one in here, because I got a take on this. I don't think there's a shootout you should ever be scared of anymore if you're Georgia.
No.
You went wire to wire. You went wire to wire with Ohio State. C.J. Stroud, Marvin Harrison, Emeka Egbuka, the dudes. You went wire to wire in a 45-42 shootout. Fourth quarter, always scoring points against the sport's best offense last year. All right? You have a better offense this year. I'm not going to say it's undoubtable. I think it's pretty undoubtable. I think it's unquestionable right now. You are playing better and more efficiently on the offensive side of the football, more consistently guaranteed on the offensive side of the football than you ever have under Kirby Smart. And you've played some damn good football on the offensive side of the football. I don't, as an analyst, I do not worry anymore about these types of football games where I'm sitting here and I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. In my next one, I think this is a weekend this offense is tested because I do believe Missouri can score points. All right, I do believe in this offense. I believe they can do the things required to score points against Georgia, which is win one-on-ones in between the numbers, like from number to number. You can't be out here living off fade balls, and you can't be out here living off, we're always going to hit the deep ball. That never really works. What does is, hey, we got 3 wide receivers, okay, that we hide really, really well. They all are about 5'11", 200 pounds. They're all really great after the catch, and we design opportunities for them to get open really well. I think Missouri's going to be able to move the football. But here's why I don't worry about this anymore. I think if Georgia needs to score 50 points, they can score 50 points. I think if Georgia needs to score 52 points to win a football game, they can do it now, and I feel comfortable about that.
How nice is that to hear?
It took a while. It took a long time. And here's what I want to give kudos to. And you weren't maybe not I don't give kudos to you. Maybe I give it to Jer Moorhead and the athletic administration. There was some extreme patience, okay? And granted, he got to a national title in his second year, but it's almost like Georgia fans expected Kirby Smart to figure out offense within like the first 3 or 4 years of his coaching regime, and it didn't happen until year 6, year 7, when Todd Monken finally got on. And even the 2020 season, I think there were some question marks about, hey, man, this Monken guy, is he really what we think he's made out to be? And then in 2021, you get your answer. But no, Georgia's playing a level of football offensively now that, it's unprecedented in the Kirby Smart regime. Now, that being said, they might get held to 28 points this weekend and make me look like an idiot. I don't think that's the case, like Washington did to me a couple weeks ago. But with the way the quarterback's playing, with the way that Dejon Edwards in this running game has been put together, Kendall Milton getting healthy, okay, going to get a little spark in Roger Robinson at some point, you would imagine. Lawson Lucky getting comfortable. At some point, Brock Bowers is going to come back into the fold here. This football team can score at will almost at this point this year.
And I think how you know this offense is legit is that there's been multiple times throughout the season where we've had questions about the offense and we weren't sure how they were going to handle it. At the beginning of the season, it was the running back room. There was point in times where we're like, I don't know how the running game is going to be. I don't know how successful it is. I don't know how you can have sustained success with how the running back room is shaped up due to injury. They seemingly answered that within the first 2 weeks of the season. Brock Bowers goes down. You look flawless out against Florida. So there's been times where they've kind of had their backs against the wall in a sense, but they answer the bell.
Yeah, no, the offense has definitely turned it on here. You go back to like the Auburn game and earlier, it was like, this might be a major step back on offense. Now, like you said, it does seem like they're scoring it well. It's going to be interesting to see if they can keep that momentum rolling against Missouri. I think they'll be able to, but we'll see.
Sudden turnovers on like the first or second play of the drive is the only thing that's really killed this football team. Red
zone efficiency.
Yeah, red zone efficiency early in the season. It feels like they've kind of cleaned that up towards the end of the year. But I'm just thinking about it right now. If you think about a lot of their turnovers, the turnover against Vandy in their own end, the turnover against Auburn in their own end. Yep. So there's a lot of those in their own end. You saying we have Terrence?
Yeah.
So go ahead and start patching him in. But I do have. Let's continue to play minimum and maximum. We can play it again with Terrence as he joins us here on the network. Huh? Maybe not. Yeah, I was about to say that's me in Streamlabs, by the way.
Well, it just notified me.
Yeah, no, that's me over there joining. So that's on me. No, I got a minimum for you. Minimum amount of points. Okay, that Missouri is going to score. Okay, hold on. Minimum amount of points UGA can score to win. Excuse me. Minimum amount of points UGA can score to win, and here's what I'm thinking. Based off what I just told you, I think Missouri scores like the floor. I think Missouri scores at least 24, 25 points on Saturday. I think that's the floor. I believe in this offense. I really do. And when I texted people inside the building about this today, because I watched it not only on patreon.com/Brooks Austin, we broke it down a little bit, but I continued to watch it even after that. Their offensive line's far more athletic than they were last year. That's a major difference. So when you actually have a potential to maybe possibly run the football, that helps me out in this analysis. I feel better about you against a Georgia defense, but it is the explosive passing attack. And it's the inability to take Luther Burden away that really, really concerns me for Georgia this year. I don't think they lose the game. I just told you, I think they're going to win shootouts, but I do think Missouri can score points. So if I told you what is the minimum? What is the minimum amount of points Georgia has to score Saturday to win? Because I think it's 25-26.
The absolute minimum.
Absolute bare minimum, they win a one-score game or a one-point game.
21 points.
21 points?
21 points is the floor.
You think they can hold Missouri to under 20?
I do, because I mean,
or you're saying they will. By the way,
yeah.
When you say that, you're like they're gonna keep Missouri under 20.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, other than if their defense doesn't have a good day, like you said, they are capable of winning shootout. The absolute minimum, I think, is 21. And if Missouri's had a very efficient offense, but they also haven't really played anyone.
I'd say 24 points. That's what I would say. That'd be my minimum.
That's about where I got it. I think Terrence is back there with us now. Do you have any more minimum maximums? I know you drew in a couple.
I've got max receiving yards Luther Burden can have and Georgia wins.
Oh, this is a great question to start Terrence off with us tonight. Let me know when you got him ready. Terrence, can you hear me, my man?
Yeah.
Hey, Terrence, maximum amount of yards Georgia can allow Luther Burden to have Saturday and still come out with a win.
I think he still could go over 100, and we still could win, but just how he get those 100. If those yards are very explosive and scoring touchdowns, then, we'll be in some trouble. But he can move the football and we're allowing field goals once we get into the red area, then that's a different story. So those yards can kind of be minute. So he could go for $120, and we hold him in the red zone, or they don't score at all. So I don't think it's about the numbers. It's about how explosive those numbers are.
Gotcha. Well, glad to have you here, Terrence. He is Terrence Edwards. He's the all-time leading receiver at the University of Georgia. I gotta ask you real quick. Last night, first rankings came out, and if I tell you, I'm gonna preface this question, Terrence, with telling you that you cannot say it doesn't matter. All right. What were your thoughts on Ohio State being ranked number 1 last night?
At the time, I agree with them. I think the 2 wins don't matter what we think of those teams. Notre Dame and Penn State were ranked pretty high when they played, and those are 2 good wins. So I can't be a hypocrite and say that they shouldn't be there by the quality of wins that they have. I know Georgia has 3 opponents consecutive weeks that is ranked in the top 25, so we would have some quality wins in 3 weeks as well. So I'm not too upset with where we was ranked. I think it's a good thing because last time I think we felt disrespected by the college football polls. Tennessee came in. So I think hopefully the same mantra, the same attitude could go in as you're going to disrespect us. So we're going to take it out on Missouri like we did against Tennessee.
Yeah, it's the 3rd time it's happened at the University of Georgia, being ranked the number 1 overall football team in the AP rankings, and then when the initial CFP rankings come out, you not be ranked number 1. Hey, but you kind of rolled me into my next question for you, Terrence. You mentioned it. Missouri this weekend, number 12. Ole Miss, number 10 next weekend. And then the following weekend, you go to Knoxville and play number 17 UT. Of those 3 teams, it's always been Ole Miss for me. I kind of overanalyzed that one. I've talked about it way too much. Which of those 3 teams scares you the most right now, Terrence?
Ole Miss. I just think the world of Lane Kiffin as an offensive play caller. I honestly believe, and I had a conversation with my best friend who played at Alabama, I think Lane is waiting for Nick Saban to retire, and I think he truly wants the Alabama job. That's my belief. I don't have any inside information, but
sounds like you do.
We was talking about, with Dabo, it's his luster has gone a little bit, even though he's an alumni of Alabama. Like, would the Alabama people want Dabo or would they want Lane? And I just think with Lane's magic offensively, I think that's who they would want. So Lane scares me just because he's so dang good on the offensive side of the ball.
Hey, it's a good point he brings up about, well, he didn't bring it up, but he mentions Lane here. Lane's about the only dude in college football coaching right now that I would say, oh, he don't care if he's the next guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a lot of people that are going to look at that Alabama job, Terrence, and they're going to be a little scared of following up Saban. Lane Kiffin ain't scared of shit. Ain't scared of nothing in his life. So yeah, you're right in the sense. I had someone tell me in the quarterbacks, the young quarterbacks particularly, like juniors down to like 8th graders, the really talented ones. They're the ones who kind of get these tea leaves really, really early because people are trying to plant their seed on these young quarterbacks real early and try to get in with them. And it's been kind of rumored since Reese was coming over. Now, he hadn't had so much success this year, but there was thought processes that he might be the guy after the guy. They were going to kind of mold him as this young offensive mind, be the guy after the guy. It's not looking like it's going to work out right now. I always thought they were going to have kind of a lame duck situation and then go find an elite football coach and like a top-end football coach. But no, I would imagine Lane doesn't bat an eye at the idea of following up Nick Saban because in my mind, I look at it as why wouldn't you, right? You have all of the recruiting stables set in store for you. Hey, Terrence, I saw a clip of Kirby Smart. Oh, I didn't see it. Well, I saw it and then tweeted it out. Love how Twitter allows you to do the post-video thing because it's like it looks like an original tweet, but it's definitely not mine. People have been doing it to me for years. I'm glad that I finally get to return the favor. But I saw a clip of Kirby today talking to Ernest Green. And to me, it was the epitome of telling a football player what they're capable of, what you're demanding them, or what you're demanding of them, while also simultaneously showing them that you believe that they are capable of doing such astronomical things that you're asking them to do. And what it made me think is like, I don't know if we see that in 2017 Kirby, 2018 Kirby. I think 2017 and 18 Kirby was all spitfire and vinegar and all gas, maybe very little breaks in his coaching strategy. Have you noticed any change in just the philosophical nature of how he approaches situations as a football coach?
Oh, you can see him coaching. Like it's just not yelling. It's just not that fire. It's just not the yelling. He's literally coaching every position on the field. If someone makes a mistake, he pulls them aside. He's coaching. You can see him really coaching Carson Beck throughout situational football. Like you can see him he's so entrenched into the game. He's turned psycho, but he's turned that psycho down a little bit than he was a few years ago. And he's now really, really coaching the team and not just trying to put fear in the team.
No doubt. All right, we're going to play a little game. It's not a little game. We're going to have a segment here, Terrence. We want you to stick around with it. We want your opinions on this. Carson Beck, with Brock Bowers out for the next 3 or 4 weeks, however long it's going to last. By the way, if you've been on patreon.com/Brooks Austin, the dude is approaching rehab like the psycho that we all thought he was.
Right.
So if you want some updates, head over there or wherever you get your updates. There's some good stuff over there on patreon.com/Brooks Austin. But what I wanted to ask you, Terrence, and what I want to ask the room is what we think Carson Beck's going to have or have to do to not just be mentioned in the Heisman conversation, but really be cemented. And I'll start off right here. I'll make my case for what he's got to do. I already think right now he's established himself, for people who have been watching Georgia football this year, I think he's already established himself as, quote-unquote, the MVP of the number one team in college football, whether you do the CFP rankings, whatever. Everyone kind of agrees that it's either Michigan or Georgia as the best football team in college football, and he's been the MVP of that. You may hear that, and you might say, oh, well, this Brock Bowers guy is really, really great. He is, but I would tell you with any quarterback, Brock Bowers was going to eat. This offense is what it is right now because of the way Carson Beck has been playing. However, as the starting quarterback at the University of Georgia, you're never going to have these quote-unquote Heisman moments. I don't believe, all right? At least last year, Stetson Bennett didn't, where he's in these tight football games and it requires a 380-yard performance, 5 touchdowns, we win the game. It's very, in a shootout fashion, great play. It required that in Ohio State. It required that in Alabama the year before. Some of these playoff games, it's required Stetson Bennett to have these quote-unquote Heisman moments, but they've already been outside of the voting, if you will, for this award. So, barring any type of shootout, guys, I don't think Carson Beck gets the opportunity to have a Heisman moment, but the good news, if you want a Heisman, not the threat of a shootout type of football game is, I think there are some teams on your schedule that will ultimately be able to score points. Already talked about Missouri's ability to do so. Ole Miss could get you in one of these types of situations. A potential matchup with the LSU, the sports best offense in the SEC championship game, is potentially on the table as well. I think it's going to require a 400-yard, like, absolute Heisman moment type of performance for the national audience to be ready to give a Georgia quarterback the Heisman Trophy. Terrence, what say you?
I think his Heisman moment is going to be a Heisman game. I think he's going to continue to go undefeated. We're going to beat Missouri, and he's just going to play it like he's playing. He's going to throw for 300. He's going to go and beat Ole Miss and throw for 300. He's going to go and beat Tennessee and throw for 300. I predict that Alabama beats LSU this weekend, and we meet old Nick Saban in the SEC championship game. And I just think he has the country has so much respect for Alabama and Nick Saban that once Carson Beck beats them in the SEC championship game, they're going to take notice that this guy is undefeated. He's breaking all the records because he's got 8 straight 250-yard games that no other SEC quarterback has done to start off their career. It's going to take the Alabama game to give him his respect. And he don't have to go out there and beat 400 yards. It could be 290 to 330, but he's going to go and beat Alabama in the SEC championship game. And that's going to really put him on the map with the voters.
I just feel like sometimes with the Heisman's a flashy award. It always has been. Without one of these video game type of football games, everyone just it's like the stain that comes with Georgia football right now, and eventually it'll wash off. But it took forever with Alabama as well. What do you think about this discussion?
I think you're right about the fact that he's not going to be in a game that forces him to kind of have a Heisman moment where it's per se he has to throw that 400-yard game and 5 touchdowns. I think you can have Heisman moments in the highlights you put out where if like in Joe Burrow's 2019 Heisman moment where it was against Georgia. They were already beating the hell out of Georgia, but he made an incredible play, and that was kind of like, oh, yeah, he's winning the Heisman. I think you can win it that way. I don't know if necessarily it's like he's got this major
just cumulative stats. Just be so gaudy with the stats.
Not even as much stats as is highlight. But Caleb Williams last year didn't light the world on fire statistically, but he made a bunch of plays that made you go, oh, my God, this guy's the best quarterback in the nation.
I don't know. Burrow had 3 450-yard games, man.
And, if you remember correctly, last year when Stetson Bennett was named as a finalist, I think a lot of the country was shocked because his name was not really floating around the Heisman conversation for the entire season.
It almost felt like Georgia's the best team. We have to give somebody from Georgia.
It was, but then you go and look at the stats and well, he's put up great numbers. His really only true Heisman moment last year up until the playoffs was against Oregon week 1. And so then when you go from week 1 all the way to week 12 at that point, nobody really recalls that, and that's no longer really in the conversation. So I think Beck can do that in a sense of where he just keeps on piling up these numbers and he keeps on playing really, really well. And then you get to the end of the season, it's like, oh, he has 4,100 passing yards and 25 touchdowns. He should be in the conversation.
Man's been eating. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, Terrence, one of the last things I got for you. If I told you right now, all right, and it's just a bold statement. It's not my statement, even though it's my statement. Carson Beck is playing quarterback better than anybody that's played it under Kirby Smart. What would you say to that?
I would say he's playing the best football as the first 8 games as the starter. That's what I'm saying. I don't think anyone has started a career off better than Carson Beck.
No.
That I can remember. I could go back as far as Eric Zaire, but I don't think there's any quarterback from the first 8 games that have played better than Beck. And I'm going to tell you, we're talking about the Heisman highlights. And the first throw that should be on his Heisman highlights is to throw the Marcus on the
against Kentucky.
Against Auburn. That is a throw. That is a throw.
I think when you take all into account, it's that throw and the throw to Ladd this weekend, the stopper ball was just elite. The ball against Vanderbilt to Dominic Lovett right before the half, that back shoulder seam ball against a blitz was absolutely elite. Hey, Terrence, who y'all got this week?
We have Lambert for the region championship. It's going to be on Peachtree TV, I believe.
Shouts out Rusty Mansell and them boys. Is that BA on that one as well? Brandon Adams on the call. It's two. Think so. All right, Terrence, appreciate you for being here, my man. He is Terrence Edwards. He is the all-time leading wide receiver at the University of Georgia. You can find him on Twitter at TE_WR Academy. That's right. That's Terrence Edwards, Wide Receiver Academy, one of the finest to do it, not only at the University of Georgia, but certainly in the training department as well. Seen some great players work out under Terrence Edwards. Kyle Pitts being one of them. Saw Jermaine Burton over there a bunch. Saw Holden Stays, the starting tight end at Notre Dame right now. Lad McConkey.
Hey Brooks, I'm
What's
gonna
up?
give you the most. I'm gonna give you the most underrated one that's coming. He's having a great year. That's CL. That's Cameron Lloyd.
That
from
boy
Walton.
Cam Lloyd. I already know all about CL. Been
Man.
seeing CL since what, like 7th grade? He's been working out with you, right?
Seventh, 8th grade, and he is having a phenomenal season right now. Just got a big offer from Austin Peay.
Hell yeah. D1 offer for our boy CL. Hey, you know what? Cameron Lloyd, give him 3. Love that, dude. That's awesome for that kid, man. Like that dude's, like I said, been working out with you for a fat minute. So I appreciate the shout out there, Terrence. We're gonna let you go though, buddy. I appreciate you.
All right.
Be good. Glad we hung on there for that last second for that CL mention, because he is 100% right. We don't talk a ton of high school football on the network here since it's in season. I know out season we do Recruit of the Day, all kinds of good stuff with the high school circuit. CL with Jeremy Hiklinski over there at Walton, they're having a tremendous year. And I'm glad to hear that Cameron's got a Division I offer, because this is a dude. I mean, he's like 5'7", but he's unguardable. Absolutely unguardable. And what will happen, I would imagine, what I would hope to happen, is that now that Austin Peay has gotten in the mix, there's going to be some other schools as well get into the mix. And that'll be a quick one for him. You know, once you start getting the mid-major offers, let's go. Get right in. Let's go ahead and take it, because you never know what's going to happen. Let's take a quick moment. This is a random thought. This is just right now, since we brought up recruiting. If you're a young football player listening to this podcast or listening to this on YouTube or watching this, if you have a committable offer, all right, that you like, you have a school that you're in love with, come December or November 31st, go ahead and commit. Go ahead and commit to that program if you are a senior in high school, because here's what's going to happen. December 6th, the NCAA transfer portal is going to open up. There's going to be thousands of football players enter their names, and one of them football players might be better than you. And they might present an opportunity to a faster track to success to your football program that you think you're committed to, or you might be committed to, or you want to commit to. Just go ahead and get in the door, please. For my sanctity, your sanctity, everybody's sanity, rather, was the word I'm looking for. Just go ahead and get it in. I want to ask you guys to go ahead and hit your thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. If you're watching us on YouTube, we are available on Spotify. If you're listening to us on or Apple iTunes, wherever you find your podcast, make sure you're checking us out. If you're listening to us, make sure you're running over to YouTube and watching us as well. We're about to hit that 16,000 subscriber mark, so I want to give a challenge here. All right, if you are our 16,000 subscriber, if that's you, I'm going to give you a free t-shirt. All right, it's going to say shut up, grind the tape, and you're a newbie. We did have some suggestions as to the F-word counter. Someone said 10 push-ups. I like, Too easy. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking something more, what do you call it when you give to charity? Charitable. I was thinking something far more charitable than that. Not that that's not a good suggestion. Just that, hey, I think if we're going to hold ourselves accountable and we get punished for it, we might as well, put some bread on the line. So maybe we think of Bulldogs battling breast cancer is very hot and topical this month. Maybe we do it a month-to-month basis. We don't show love to one, charitable organization. Maybe we spread it out over a couple.
That's a good one. Do like at the end of every month, you tally it up. Every tally you have is $10 towards that charity.
Yeah, and now I don't feel bad when I say it, because fuck it, I'm just giving money to charity.
What a guy.
What a guy.
What a giver.
What a giver.
What a guy.
Anyways, let's move on. We had Terrence in there for, what were we talking about? Case for Carson. Do we want to wrap that up? Do we anything else on that discussion? We didn't finish minimum maximum, so we got to get back to that.
I think we get back to minimum maximum. I think we said everything needs to be said about Carson.
I think so
right
too.
now.
I worry. I worry about whether or not. No. Somebody said my punishment should be shave my head. Absolutely not. Understand something. Once you pass the age of like 28, you need to be careful with shaving your head. All right, it might not come back. I'm dead ass with you. You can't be tempting fate like that, homie. Especially not me, bro. I ain't out here looking like Caillou. Let's get back to minimum maximums. What you got?
Let's see what maximum number of explosives Georgia can allow.
Are they stopping teams in the red zone? Not this year.
Well,
now that's so skewed. Give that one. They're 127th in the country in red zone scoring efficiency on the defensive side of the football, but they've allowed the 4th fewest red zone possessions.
15
total red zone possessions, and they've obviously given up a handful of scores on those.
Teams are 13 of 15 scoring against them.
Yeah, so here's what I'm thinking is happening based on this stat. All the explosives are ending at they're inside the 10.
Yeah.
They're inside the 5. They're already there.
Or it's like a play against Vanderbilt where they return an interception all the way to the 1 yard line.
Ball starts at the 5.
Yeah.
No, the red zone efficiency hasn't been great, which makes me wonder if this football game is going to come down to whether or not Georgia steps it up in the red zone. Because I already told you, I think Missouri's going to move the football on Saturday. Now, we're going to get to bold predictions here in a little bit. I have one of these that makes me think the reason my score prediction is going to be 2 or 3 scores in favor of Georgia is because I think Georgia's going to turn them over on Saturday. Just because they're going to have to put the ball at risk to move the ball. And they're going to. This is an offense that will throw the ball and put it at risk.
Mm-hmm. You want another?
Max? Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, max red zone trip that Georgia can have that only equal field goals.
4.
You think 4?
3.
3. So
I was going to say 2.
That's 3 red zone trips and only 9 points out of it.
Correct.
I was going to say 2.
I think 3 is a fair number. I think Georgia's defense does a lot better job against Missouri's offense than you think.
You think so?
I mean, Missouri's offense, as efficient, as good as they are, they have played no one. Their schedule is weak. Me and Jay were talking about this earlier. They haven't played a top 70 passing defense.
Every single passing defense they played is either 75th or worse. Majority of them are 100th or worse.
Yeah, they have not played anyone. If you go back and look at the schedule and all right, who's a quality opponent they've played? It's LSU. And I mean,
it ain't LSU.
LSU's defense is Swiss cheese.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in NBR. They're really, really bad.
Yeah.
Defensively is LSU. Bald-headed Brooks equals the last film bender.
That should have been I like that.
It's a top 5 quote we've had in the chat in a while. That's pretty good right there.
I might have to Photoshop that.
The Busta in Augusta. That's pretty solid right there, my man.
That's great.
We're talking about minimum red zone possessions. Yeah, I think so. They score. Let's say they get 12 total possessions in this football game. Punt on 3, kick field goals on 3, and score possessions. Or let's say they score 4 touchdowns, kick 3 field goals. What's that? That's 35 points.
That's 36 points.
37 points. 36 points. 37 points. 37 points. That's plenty. It's plenty. I think that's okay. They stall out a couple times. It's just a matter of getting enough possessions.
Yeah.
Will you check? Just look up Missouri on Sports Reference and see how many plays per game they're running. I want to know if this is I think they're selective pace like everybody else nowadays.
Yeah.
They're not rapid like most football teams, like some spread offenses. Some of these offenses have figured out how to play with the manipulative pace while also still being a check with me offense. You adding their runs and their passes right now, I would imagine is what you're doing. Yeah, I've checked this before on Stat Reference. What do you got?
66.5.
Yeah, so they're playing slow. So this is a football team that's actually playing relatively slow.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they try to limit your possessions on Saturday. Maybe they play even slower. If I told you Missouri was trying to have 58 snaps in this football game, score 31 points, and keep Georgia under 30, that would be the game plan for them. But it's hard to do that as a football team that is going to have to be explosive through the air.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to sit on the ball and run it against this Georgia defense.
No.
So
They're averaging about almost over 29 minutes of time possession per game. So it's not the slowest in the country, but I mean it's around there.
And they've played some teams that are either outmanned and outmatched, trying to do that to them, or they've played Kansas State.
Yeah.
So or LSU, who's scoring quickly as hell.
Yep.
So yeah, that stat's a little staggered. Do we have any more minimum maximums?
Nah, that's all I got.
All right, let's get into where do we want to go next? Do we want to play trivia?
I want to play trivia.
You want to play trivia?
This. I'm excited about
I want
this.
to play trivia too. All right, 4 Georgia Bulldogs. Listen up, chat. 4 Georgia Bulldogs have blocked a kick or a punt in their career. Can you name them?
Dan Jackson,
1.
Jonell Aguero.
2.
Shoot.
I know one of them.
What's up?
Eric Stokes.
No, active.
Oh,
active.
then
My bad. Active.
Oh man.
okay. Then one of them is it was against Kentucky. It was the D lineman.
Maybe not a D lineman, but I could see how you would think he might be.
Like an edge rusher.
Yeah. That just gave it
Chaz?
away, by the way. No. Too slow to block kicks.
Was it Michael?
No. Twitchy athlete. Really
Marvin?
twitchy. Nope. It's Jalen Walker. Y'all missed that one. And this last one was a field goal. Okay? This last one was a field goal. Huh?
What year was it?
Against LSU?
It was in 2022, and it was again. It was against LSU. It was the Chris Smith play.
Why am I blanking on this right now?
Because he always gets missed.
I can literally see the play.
The chat got it.
Was
Don't
it
look at the
Warren?
chat, you cheater.
Was it
I
Warren?
won't say- I'm not
Was
gonna
it
say. I'm
Warren
not gonna say.
Brinson?
Huh?
Was it Warren
It was
Brinson?
not Warren Brinson.
You're close though.
All right, I'm looking.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That's why I could literally see it happening in my head. I just
I'm
couldn't
gonna
think
piss
of the
you
name.
off. It's not a Stackhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the four. All right,
That's
this
a good
one.
one. I like
This
that
one, we're not
question.
even gonna. I'm not even gonna give you like maybe I'll do multiple choice. Let's see here.
No. Just ask the question.
It's
first.
a direct number. How many freshmen have played this year?
Just gotten on the field.
Yep.
AJ Harris has played.
And here's the kicker. 17 of these freshmen debuted in the season opener.
Oh God, I'm gonna go with.
So there's all. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna just ballpark and say 23.
Okay, what
I
do you
think
got?
It's more than that. I think it's 27.
It is 21. 21 freshmen have played this year. And I know the next question normally would be, well, who hasn't played? Because they signed 28 guys last year, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And off the top of my head, I can tell you right now, Bo Hewley hasn't played. Merriweather hasn't played. Jamal Merriweather hasn't played. The other offensive tackle that they took, they didn't take 4 tackles last year. Monroe Freeling has played. The other 3 have not. AJ Harris has played. I don't believe Chris Peel has played. Or did he have a pick six? Who was the freshman that had the pick
Kyron
six?
Jones.
Kyron Jones.
Kyron
Chris Peel has not played.
Nah,
I
has he
believe
been
he's
injured?
been injured.
Yeah, he's been injured.
Yeah, so those are only 4 off the top of my head that I can remember. But there's 7 apparently that haven't played. So
What was the other?
Drew Bobo hasn't played. Is he a true freshman?
Wasn't there the other
Can't remember.
offensive lineman that was out in San Antonio when we were there? That was a Georgia commit. I'm blanking on his name. Right.
Oh, you're talking about.
There was another one that was there.
Oh yeah, dang it.
That's the other one. I can't think of his name right now.
Plays guard.
Yeah.
Look up the commits.
Okay.
This is gonna bother me.
Go ahead and ask the next question while they're doing that.
That's it. That's all I have. I have those 2.
That's fine.
We can play. Let's play. Find that bulldog. Or who's that bulldog?
I wanna play
It's
Who's That
basically
Bulldog,
trivia. All right, I'm gonna give you some bullet points on this dog. You guess that dog. All right, this dog is from the state of Florida. This dog is an underclassman. This dog was rated a 4-star. This dog plays on the line of scrimmage, and this one's really gonna kick it. This bulldog wears a double digit, meaning it's the same digit twice.
Joshua Miller.
No.
No.
That was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joshua Miller.
You're going to have to repeat that, by
Joshua
the way.
Miller.
So from Florida.
From Florida, he is an underclassman, was a 4-star, plays on the line of scrimmage, whether it be offense or defense, okay? And he wears a double digit, meaning the digit is repeated on his jersey.
Ooh. From Florida, underclassman, on the line of scrimmage.
Oh. No, Samuel Pemberley wears 26.
Close, though. He is a freshman.
Damn
it.
The double number.
Jordan Hall?
Yeah, Jordan Hall.
Big
there it
baby.
is, number 44.
Big baby.
I was
Borderline 5-star.
For some
he was
reason,
close at the end.
For some reason, him in the state of Florida was not clicking for me.
Yeah.
All right, here's a good one. And this one's just an excuse to throw a shout out to the Discord and also try to trick you.
Jackson Muschamp.
Way to go. I was going to do it too, but then I was like,
Yeah,
I'm going to let him do it.
Discord over. He's from the Carolinas. He's an upperclassman. He's from South Carolina. He's got a family member on staff. He is Jackson Muschamp. I was trying to tie in TID with him, but there's nothing those 2 humans share in common other than the fact that they are from South Carolina.
I mean, you really limit it down when you say family member on staff.
That was going to be the last kicker in case you guys didn't get it by then. So, yeah, that's always fun. All right, let's get back to an actual real segment. Let's give them 3. 3 things that scare you about Missouri this week. You boys can start.
Oh, honestly,
don't fugazi me. I want your honest opinion.
I was about to. Well, for the 3 things that scare you about Mizzou, they were already filled in on the show notes, and so I just thought that these were the 3 things we were talking about.
So next time this happens, just tell me nothing, and that'll be the bit, and you'll have a good joke.
I got 3.
You got 3.
So obviously,
you know why I did that? Like full disclosure, behind the curtain, I did that so you didn't take one of my 3. Those are my 3 in the show notes. Did you understand that?
Yeah, I knew those were your three.
I'm just a dum-dum. It's
No,
okay.
no, it's all good. I didn't tell you.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So the first one I have is Luther Burden. The only way that you've seen the last 2 seasons Georgia lose or even come losing is when a team has an elite wide receiver. I think Luther Burden can give you problems. I don't think he will, but he's one of those guys where it's like, oh, you know, I would feel better if they were playing a run-heavy Missouri team that just tries to run it down your throat. The second one I have is this is kind of the first real test for Georgia when it comes to opponent-wise. Yeah, they've been in situations where they've been tested before. You had to come back against Auburn, face a little adversity against Vanderbilt, things like that. But this is going to be their biggest game thus far. So, I mean, that kind of worries you. Then the third one is I think Missouri has a solid enough defense. I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's great. But I think it's solid enough to give Georgia some problems. And then if that's kind of where you worry about, you know, getting into a shootout. But like you said, it's not that big of an issue. So I think it's such something to worry about, where you can kind of stall the offense out, and then it becomes, Missouri scoring points.
Yeah, the running backs had a good couple last weeks for Missouri. Hey, Christian Kirby, give him 3. All right, I got 3 for you. Experienced quarterback play is always a good thing to have when you're an underdog on the road. 17-point underdog. Line keeps coming down to 16.5, I think, when we released that article.
People are fading.
Yeah, that's the consensus line right now.
Yeah, consistent line coming down to 16.5. So, but anyways, I think you have to have experienced quarterback play. This is a guy in Brady Cook who's actually seen Georgia 3 times. If you guys remember back in 2021 when they came to Athens, they were split rolling the quarterback play, had much more of like a dual threat guy in number 16, and then rotated in Brady Cook midway through that football game as well. So he's seen a lot of really good defense, and he's seen a lot of live bullets, and he's also playing extremely hot right now as a quarterback. So that kind of would worry me if I were Georgia. And number 2, you hit on it, but you hit on just one. It's not just one. They have a bunch of explosive weapons. They got 3 or 4 guys that can really get it done, and they also have an offensive coordinator and an offensive staff who, like I showed you in film study this morning, do a great job of just finding ways to get those guys the ball. Easy touches, whether it be unique motions to get them into, type of run after the run, like we're going to make it a catch, but it's literally like a jet sweep type stuff, reverses, all this different stuff to get wide receivers just general easy touches. But they also do things with motion where they're going to try to get an option route with Mookie Cooper out in the space, and they're going to make a safety run out and try to guard him during motion, and then all of a sudden, all of a snap, they got all this grass to work, and the only read is that one guy. And if he wins the rep, guess what? He probably is 9 times out of 10, right? They do a great job with that kind of stuff, and that's, again, why I think they're going to have some opportunity to move the football successfully. And the number 3 thing, and it's probably my most important on the list, this is a confident football team that they can do this, all right? Whether or not it's warranted, whether or not it's truthful, this football team going into this game on Saturday, because of last year, thinks they can do the unthinkable. They are confident that they can go out and beat a Georgia team, all right, if they just finish. I would imagine that's what their coach is telling them all week. Look, you guys had this football team on the ropes. We're a better version of who we were last year, and we had this football team on the ropes. All we got to do is finish. That will provide you at least enough juice and enough life to not think you're beaten getting off the bus. And I think that's the point we've gotten to with Georgia sometimes, where some of these interconference opponents, man, they come into Sanford Stadium and they lay an egg to start the football game because they don't think they can go do it. And then it takes one explosive play for them to go, well, no, I can do it. This is a football team in Missouri that's going to come out ready to play.
All right. I thought of 2 things that I can say for this segment.
It's give me 3.
Okay, well, maybe I'll think of a third by the time I get to the end of this.
Attaboy.
First one, Missouri's playing with house money. That should scare you in general because they have nothing to lose. They've only have 1 loss on the season. If they go in and beat Georgia, they can pull all the stops that they want because they could pull off the all-time upset, knock off Georgia, give them their first loss of the season. And excuse me. And so that should scare you in general. The second one, the thicker kicker. That should terrify Georgia fans. They got the thicker kicker. The dude has a boot on him, nailed a 60-plus yarder earlier in the season against Kansas State, so that should scare you. And you know what, for my third one, I'll give one on the flip side, something that should scare Missouri, Andrew Smart. Look, you just got to keep your eye out on him this weekend.
A straight villain.
You got to keep your eye out on Andrew Smart.
Just for general purposes, just keep an eye on Andrew Smart.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
He's gonna steal football.
Yeah.
You think so?
He's gonna leave with Missouri football.
It's gonna happen really, really early. He's gonna take it right into the locker room. He's got home field advantage here. He ain't got to worry about the ops getting him.
Yeah, no security guards.
I think that's something we haven't really talked about is how does this Missouri team respond to this Georgia crowd?
Oh, that's a good point.
I'm telling, dude, That's why I pointed out how they're one of
Sanford's not that loud.
Oh boy.
It's a joke. It's a joke. We have lots
Boo
of
this
them around
man.
here. Boo this man.
That's why I
it's not
pointed
that
out
loud.
that they're one of the most penalized teams in the country for that very reason. Of that is something that Missouri.
Do they
should
have
be
a lot of
concerned
false
about.
starts, or is there a lot of actual penalties?
So I was trying to figure that out. Trying to
It's
go through the
impossible,
game
isn't it?
logs. It really is really hard, especially when you're doing it through the game logs because it's kind of hard. You know, ESPN sometimes putting in some wacky stuff. But, like, some of it, a lot of it is stupid penalties, like a lot of dead ball penalties. And that's why I also point out that that's something that you should be more concerned about more than false starts, because false starts is like, okay, back it up 5 yards. You get dead ball fouls, like personal fouls, like Luther Burden has had a couple this year, and a few other players on the roster I noticed had a few as well. Like, those are 15-yarders, plays where, like, you may have converted a 3rd and long, but then you commit a dead ball foul, and now you're just backing up, shooting yourself in the foot.
It might be you kind of take on you take on the role of your head coach. You take on the persona of your head coach. Their head coach is very laid back. Their head coach is very fun. Their head coach is very stress free. He plays, he shoots off the hip all the time. Kind of appears the way their football
Big
team
hey
does.
dudes in khakis guy.
Yeah, big what?
Big hey dudes in khakis guy.
Hey dudes
And
in khakis?
cargo shorts.
What are hey dudes?
You don't know what hey dudes are?
What are hey dudes?
You're lying.
I swear,
There's no
on my
way I know what
mom.
hey dudes
What are hey
are.
dudes?
They're those shoes
They're
that
like
don't have
the-
any laces, and they're just like slip-on shoes, like very casual, like boat dock
You've
shoes.
definitely seen them.
Yeah, you've definitely
give
seen
it-
them.
give it a
You've
Google
definitely
quick.
seen them.
What are they called?
Hey dudes.
Like hey?
Yeah.
Dudes.
H-E-Y-D.
Oh, man.
Hey dudes. Ugh.
It's got middle-aged white people in a chokehold right now.
Ugh. Ugh. I hate to embarrass anybody that's out here. Oh, they got personalized Georgia ones.
Oh, yeah.
Hey dudes are big right now.
Yeah. Very Sperry-esque, but without the
Yeah,
laces.
big
Yes.
frat lounge.
They kind of combine house shoes with
People
Sperry's.
swear by them, though. Like, it's kind of like a more modern Croc type thing. Like, people love
More
them because they're
It's like a
sophisticated
crock
Croc.
that you can wear with khakis.
Yeah.
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 Like, I'm casual, but I'm here to
That's
party.
Caucasian heaven. Ain't no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get into bold predictions. Y'all want to do it?
Let's
Yeah,
do
let's
it.
do it.
Let's do it. 3 bold predictions or a bold prediction. You don't have to give me 3. I do have 3, though.
This is what I did. Give me 3-2.
Huh?
This is what I did. Give him 3-2.
Oh, that's all right. Well, I have 3 of them as well. How many do you have?
I have 3, but I only really want to say 2.
All right. Well, I got 1 right here. We'll trade them off. Ding, 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 ding. We'll go around the room. Malachi Starks and Javon Bullard each have an interception on
Ooh,
Saturday.
I like
okay? And here's why. They have to throw the football to Luther Burden at some point Saturday, right? We all know this. All right? And they're going to do it with him in the slot. I would imagine they try to attack 22 first, because if anybody can't, quote unquote, or they think can't run with Luther Burden, it's probably going to be 22. It's not going to be 24. However, at some point, they're going to cover Luther, and there's going to be a panic, tap, 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 throw the ball back to the other side from Brady Cook, and Malachi Starks is going to cover some ground on Saturday and make an interception. I think both of those dudes roaming the middle of the field against a football team that prioritizes getting weapons in the middle of the field, I think both of those dudes have an interception on Saturday.
I'm going to one-up you, and I'm going to say that Georgia's defense scores this weekend. That was my bold prediction. I
Now I
think
only have 1.
whether it be off an interception or whatever kind of chaos that Georgia's defense is able to cause this week, maybe it even is the crowd having a factor and they snap it early and you get a little scoop and score after that. But I think Georgia's defense puts points on the board this weekend.
Can I just stop? Something's happening. Something's happening to this network. Have you seen that? Are you looking at the numbers right now?
Yeah.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. All the last 4 or 5 years, I've been working my ass off. I've been working my ass off to have a show like this, because I know 400 people should be showing up watching this. So thank you. Thank you. What do you got?
So the first one I have was Luther Burden's going to get held to less than 50 receiving yards.
Ooh.
That's my.
That's hot.
I
That's
think
not
Kamari,
even bold. That's hot.
I think Kamari Lassiter is going to lock him up. 1, and like you said, I think they're going to force it a lot. And 3, they have not played. I can't reiterate this enough. They have not played a good passing defense whatsoever. Kentucky held them to 15 yards. Kentucky's got what? The 120th?
Yeah, it's really
it's a
108th,
terrible
I
passing
think.
defense. They have not seen a defense like Georgia's. So, yeah, I think Luther Burden gets held to under 50 yards.
I'm gonna push you back on one point there. You said Kamari's the one that's gonna lock him up. This game's Tyke's game.
Yes.
Tyke Smith has to show up and cover like he's covered the last several weeks. It's a Tyke Smith number 23 football game. Okay. At some point, I thought they were going to have to maybe do something there against teams like this. He has shown otherwise. He has shown the ability to go out there and flat out cover. So shouts out to that. I got another one. Carson Beck, 375.
I like it.
Carson Beck, 375. I already told you. I think Missouri scores 27 points in this football game. If Missouri scores 27 points in this football game, I think Georgia's north of 42, maybe close to that 45 points in this football game, and that's going to mean 375, over 500 yards of total offense for Georgia for sure.
Wow.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, I think Ladd McConkey has a better week than he did last week. I think he's
Well,
going to have
150?
Yeah, I think he's going to get into that range. With the amount of explosives that Missouri's defense is susceptible to allowing, and Ladd McConkey's ability to create those explosives in the offense, and how well Carson Beck has been playing, I think this is going to be another huge weekend for Ladd McConkey.
I'll go ahead and combine that. I have a Georgia receiver goes over 100 yards. I don't know if it necessarily has to be Ladd McConkey, if it has to be Rah-Rah, Dominic Lovett. Hell, it might even be a running back the way they do it. But I think there is a Georgia receiver who gets 100 receiving yards here.
I got another one for you.
Bring it.
Little birdie. Little birdie hopped in the air. Okay, little birdie hopped in the air this week and said, you seen what Jalen Walker and Damon Wilson did last week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got after it. Got after it a little bit. A little appetizer. Little appetizer for what's going on this weekend. So says Lil Birdie. So, bold prediction, Jalen Walker and Damon Wilson. Jamin Wilson Walker would be elite as a pass rusher. If you gave me 6'5" Damon Wilson with Jalen Walker's twitch and muscle hamsterness, we'd be elite. We'd be elite. But nah, I think these two dudes have a tremendous game on third down in particular. Saw it on Twitter. Some people were saying things like, hey, why isn't Jalen Walker starting? Why doesn't he play over Chaz Chambliss? He seems to impact. Guys, the third down specialist. All right, and it's okay. Guess what? You can make $15 million a year in the NFL being a third down specialist. Hassan Reddick is that. All right, he goes in on third down or is utilized and prioritized on third down to get after the quarterback because it's an invaluable skill. I think Damon Wilson, Jalen Walker on third and long only. Okay, so 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 on Saturday. I want you to look out for 35, and I want you to look out for 11. I'm telling you right now, they're going to have a big day on those situations. Do we have any more?
I got one more. This is just kind of me saying it. Not real analysis other than the fact that I looked at the rushing numbers and they're not great for Missouri. I think Georgia keeps them under 100 rushing yards on Saturday.
I like that.
Do we have a background on Missouri in terms of what they've done this year in rushing?
Yeah, I can get it for you real quick. I was looking at it earlier.
What other keys to the game? Tomorrow, I'm going to be giving you an actual recipe for success, like a detailed game plan, offensively and defensively, how I would attack, how I would do that. What?
You need a chef hat if you're going to do that.
A chef hat?
Yeah.
Just out here cooking?
Chef Brooks.
Chef Brooks.
Chef Brooks with the recipe.
Chef Boy RB.
So they're 75th in the nation for rushing yards. They're averaging 149 rushing yards per game, 4.2 yards per carry.
Okay. You don't have the game logs up. I was going to wonder who put them in a box, though. Somebody on that list probably put them in a box.
Kentucky put him in a box in the passing game, at least. Or at least they put Luther Bird in
I would
there.
imagine it was Kansas State.
That was a pretty high-scoring game, though, wasn't it?
I think it was, but, again, through the air. I worry about this team throwing the football. I don't worry about anybody running
You're
the ball.
exactly right.
Georgia.
Kansas State held them to 74.
Yeah. And that's the lowest total of the year?
Yep.
Yep. And then Memphis probably put them in a box, too.
No, they allowed 201.
Went the other way.
Yeah.
Okay, play prevent is what it sounds like.
The next best was Middle Tennessee.
So there you go. Oh, we got some bold predictions in the chat. I love to see this. Love it over 100 yards. TID 1 sack. Dejon Edwards over 100 yards. That comes from our boy Paul Duringer. Our boy
Careful
Paul
now.
right there.
Careful reading those names.
Yeah, you're right. I think Delp has 4+ catches for 70+ yards. That's some explosive receptions right there. Yeah. That's like a little 7-yard getter and then like 3 25-yard getters right there.
No, I think he means he's going to have 4 receptions of 70 yards or more. He's going for 290.
That's funny. Let's see here. I saw some other ones in there. Brady Cook wears bedazzled skinny jeans. Oh, we need to talk about this. Did y'all see Drinkwitz say that he wished Brady Cook could date his daughters, but his daughters aren't of age?
Clip.
That was weird.
That's
man.
an old clip, but yeah,
it was an old clip.
He got clowned for it when it happened.
Oh,
it was real. Ooh, it was bad.
I got tricked by the internet today.
You did.
I thought that was brand new.
No, I'm pretty sure that happened.
It doesn't make it any worse or any better. In fact, it might make it worse because the girls were a year younger when he said this.
Well, I think it's.
Girls are in high
I think it
school,
was. I think he said it when like the whole controversy was happening of like people didn't want Cook to start, and so then he was like kind of going up to.
So that was
bat for
early
him.
in the year.
Yeah.
Well, there's other ways to say he's an upstanding human
bro.
than say you wish your daughters were dating.
For sure.
You know, you could say like he was unanimous, our captain, even though we hadn't decided that he was our starting quarterback. You could say, you know, he shows up on whatever. You don't have to say that you wish he was dating your daughter. It's a little weird.
That's I want to make a joke about that, but I don't think I can.
We're running out of time anyways. Hey, we have a whole nother hour. If you showed up for this one, definitely show up for NBR, our national hour. We got a lot to talk about. We love you. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button on the way out. We'll see you in 5.